Madam President, my question is to the Minister for Employment, Workplace Relations, Minister Watt. On the 24th of June this year, Minister Burke, Minister for Employment, Workplace Relations at the time, announced an independent panel would conduct a comprehensive review of the Safety Rehabilitation Compensation Act 1988, which underpins the Comcare scheme. The Comcare scheme hasn't been reviewed since financial year 2012-13, and it hasn't been subject to any major reforms since it commenced in 1988. Comcare covers more than 470,000 people, providing rehabilitation and workers' compensation arrangements for Commonwealth and ACT government public servants and employees of almost 50 private corporations. A key part of the review is stakeholder engagement and obtaining feedback from injured workers that have real experience, which is being sought through a consultation process. Can the Minister advise what announcement or advertisements were undertaken by Comcare or that department to give the widest possible broadcast that the review was happening?
Thank you, Senator Lambie. Minister Watt.
Thank you very much, Senator Lambie. You're right. Under Minister Burke, my predecessor in this role, a review of Comcare was commenced, and you're right that it is a very long time since Comcare has been reviewed, back to 2012, 2013, and in fact it hasn't been subject to any major reforms since Comcare started back in 1988. You've mentioned the fact that Comcare does insure many thousands of employees right across a range of different industries, not just in the public sector, and we did think that it was high time that this scheme be reviewed. Thank you for acknowledging that there is a consultation process underway. I'm not aware of exactly what process was adopted in terms of advertising the ability for people to participate. My understanding was that the intention was to consult as widely as possible. And if that hasn't occurred, then I'm certainly happy to take steps to widen the opportunity for people to be involved in this. We do want this to be a very inclusive review because we know that there are many people in the community who have an interest in a well-functioning workers' compensation insurer. Of course, the workers who are covered under this scheme have a right to be involved in it. The employers who pay premiums have a right to have their views heard as well. So that is certainly the intention behind this scheme. I might just mention that I think that we have managed to assemble a very high quality panel to conduct this review of three highly qualified people to conduct it. I have full confidence in the work that they are doing. But as I say, if there's more that we can do to widen the number of people who participate in the review and to have their opportunity to have their say, I'll certainly take those steps. And Senator Lambie, if there's particular individuals who you understand have not had that opportunity and you'd like to, happy to have a chat with you about that as well.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Lambie, first supplementary.
Yeah. Lived experiences by people that were not only covered by the scheme but had caused years that are critical for getting solid feed for the review. Did Comcare or the department positively engage with entities relevant to the review or relevant unions to ensure they are aware and seek their assistance for widest dissemination across the workforces and members?
Thank you, Senator Lambie. Minister Watt.
Thanks, Senator Lambie. I've just been advised by my office actually that it is still possible for those who've got an interest in the Comcare review to make a submission via my department's website, and they can do that up until the 2nd of December this year. I would be very surprised. I do remember being briefed on the plans around the consultation process, and I would be very surprised if it was the case that unions weren't invited or that those with lived experience of these issues weren't invited. What I'm not so sure about is what was done to communicate the opportunity to be involved to every single member of the public. But certainly the intention is to consult the types of groups you're talking about to make sure that their views and experiences are heard. But as I say, if there is more that we can do to advertise this, I'm certainly happy to do so. And I'd make the point again that people do have an opportunity up until the 2nd of December to make a submission via my department's website.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Lambie, second supplementary.
It's very, very sad to hear that you've got a whole department and yet I have to do this job for you because it wasn't widely disseminated, was it? The public consultation for the independent review was open on the 21st of October and is due to close on the 2nd December. As at today, the period for making a submission is almost 70% complete. How many submissions has a review received to date?
Minister.
Thanks, President, and thanks, Senator Lambie. I'm happy to come back to you on notice Senator Lambie as to how many submissions we've received so far. I think what you generally would find in government consultation processes is that the number of submissions received increase as you get closer to the deadline. So it wouldn't surprise me if we hadn't had a huge number up until now, and if that number were to increase in the run-up to it. But I do reject the suggestion that we haven't attempted to involve people in this. As I say, there is consultation occurring and that has been advertised. I'm happy to provide you with the details about what was done to advertise it to individuals, but certainly there is consultation going on with the very types of groups that you've mentioned, and so there should be. We want to make sure that, as I say, the views of workers, the views of injured people, views of unions, the views of employers are heard in this review. That's why there is a consultation process that's occurring over a number of weeks, and there's still an opportunity for people to be involved if they'd like to be.